What's up, everybody? I'm here to talk to you today about Uranus's entrance into Taurus. This is huge, okay? I started my first YouTube channel 7 years ago when Uranus entered Aries. So that was the last video I did on Uranus. So this video is a lot different because I've grown a lot as an astrologer, but also this is just a big deal because Uranus is the planet of awakening, shock, surprises, lightning, earthquakes, surprise. It's chaos. It comes in to stir the pot. It's a rebellious energy. It's a futuristic, forward-thinking energy that leaves everyone else just like, whoa, where did that come from? And the purpose of Uranus, the gift of Uranus, is awakening and enlightenment and like seeing things in a new way. It's the aha moment that we need that like makes everything clear again, but it can also be jolting, right? And then Taurus is the sign of utmost stability and practicality, and it roots down. It's an earth sign. It's grounded. It's practical. It doesn't really like change that much, you know? So Uranus coming into Taurus is a really big deal. It's going to be especially a big deal for Taurus people because their lives are about to get pretty interesting right now and for the next 7 years. But yeah, Uranus comes in to Taurus on May 15th, 2018. This is on the same day as a new moon, and this is a really big deal because that kind of hints to what we can expect with Uranus and Taurus. We're going to see a lot of new stuff, new beginnings, innovation, technological innovation with all things Taurus, which I'm going to break down. But first, this is a really, really big deal that's happening on a new moon. I mean, it's going to bring things that we've never seen before that we can hardly even contrive right now. I mean, Uranus, when it was in Aries was about me, my sovereignty, who I am. Uranus and Aries came at the time when a lot of people started having a smartphone in their hands, and what it did was it gave everyone a platform. Everyone started taking selfies. That wasn't a word before Uranus in Aries. Everyone had a voice, everyone had a platform, everyone had a profile. You know, social media really developed during that time. Now people are live streaming. So that was Uranus and Aries, and none of us would have known that that would necessarily happen. So Uranus and Taurus falling and entering Taurus on a new moon suggests that we're going to see things that we've never even imagined, and we have 7 years for all this to come true. So some of the things that some of the themes that we might expect to see innovation with Taurus is the land. It's farming. I mean, we're already seeing innovations where cows can be milked by a computer, and that is both beneficial for the farmers and beneficial for the cattle because they do it when they want to. It's very interesting. I think we could see innovations in the way that we do agriculture. I see maybe a rise in hydroponic, you know, where we're making better use of our resources, which is another Taurus word, is resources. So hydroponic, where, you know, we're using water. There's actually an abandoned school somewhere in Brooklyn, I believe, and they've turned this into a really futuristic, cutting edge way to grow food and sell it at the farmers markets in New York. So that's just one really good example of ways that we can use technology to innovate the way that we do things so that we can have smarter practices that are more sustainable. Think vertical gardening. We're starting to see like trees on rooftops and things on the sides of buildings. This also helps with pollution and things like that. So like I think of Taurus as like the ultimate Gaia sign, you know, and so this is a time where we can use our technological innovation to help Mother Earth instead of harm her, which we've spent a lot of time doing as we've gotten our bearings with technology and everything. But I feel like we're at a point now where we have the awareness of what we're doing and we have the technology to make better choices. We just need to organize. And speaking of organization, on the same day that Uranus moves into Taurus, and again we have that new moon, Mars also changes signs from Capricorn into Aquarius. And Aquarius likes to organize. It's about building a community, having a shared vision, having a shared goal that's rooted in a shared sense of value. And I see this shift with Mars, because Mars is how we take action and how we go about things. So all the changes that we're talking about that are going to be happening with Uranus and Taurus, Mars is always what carries it out. So Mars moving from a more capitalistic, enterprising sign like Capricorn, moving into a more community-oriented, socialistic sign like Aquarius, says that maybe this is really time to have a serious conversation about not overtly taxing solar panel production just to keep the coal companies alive. Like, we need to actually think about what's better for us as a world community, rather than keeping these corporations alive that are like basically just like corporate thugs, just like taking advantage of this planet and taking advantage of people. Anyways, you all probably know that already, but I just see this as maybe a time where we start to favor innovation and evolution and better use of resources and technology in order for the greater good. And I think Mars changing sign like just hours after the ingress speaks volumes about that. So just another quick note. Mars and Uranus are actually in a square aspect when this happens. So this is also a big deal. So they both, starting at the beginning of the day, they're both square in a fire sign, and then at the end of the day, they're both square in an earth sign. So they're keeping their square off. So what does that mean? Mars square Uranus is a rebellious energy. It craves freedom. It says, you can't put me in a box, you can't control me. It's willing to take risks. So it'd be interesting to see what people do as far as risk taking in the next 7 years. Like Elon Musk, I'd be so curious to see what other things that he does and people like him. But even people, I could even see people taking risks, because Aquarius is also Congress. So I would wonder and be curious to see what kinds of moves that we see people making to help bring about this change that's more sustainable. Okay, so the other thing is that Uranus does dip back into Aries for a second in November 2018, but then it returns to Taurus on March 6th, 2019. Interesting thing about both of those charts. I drew up a chart for when Uranus retrogrades back into Aries, and then another one where it re-enters Taurus. All these are happening on new moons. It is weird. I don't know. There must be some kind of cosmic code. Of course there is. But yeah, it occurs both on new moons. It's fascinating. And while we're on this topic, I'll just say briefly kind of what I'm seeing here. The Taurus ingress, when the chart for Uranus entering back into Aries, it's on November 6th, 2018. Not only is it a new moon, like really close by, it's after the new moon happens after. But this is also the same day that the nodes of destiny enter a new sign. Currently, they're in, North Node is in Leo, South Node is in Aquarius. On the same day that Uranus changes signs into Aries again, North Node moves into Cancer. Cancer-Capricorn axis is still a lot about security. It really is. It's about security through your ambition in Capricorn, and then security through the home and family and your roots in Cancer. So that's very, very interesting. It forms a grand square also with Venus in there, and Venus again has to do with values. So that brings me to another theme of Uranus and Taurus, is money. We're already seeing a lot of stuff going on with Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. This is going to continue to be a theme for the next 7 years. Could we be moving into a cashless society? I mean, we kind of already are. I mean, there's credit cards and PayPal and Venmo and all this stuff that we use on a regular basis. But big changes are going to be happening with money. And that also kind of recalibrates our collective sense of value of what's important to us, how we save, what are we saving for. And also, you know, another form of currency, you know, is energy. I mean, we go to work, we give energy, and the energy exchange is the paycheck. So it's all about energy exchange. So there is technology for free energy. People are also talking about universal income to kind of supplement a lot of the jobs that are being taken away by technology, which is again Uranus. So yeah, I think this is going to be another subject that we continue to explore over the next 7 years in that way. And maybe we'll hear about it in November. So we'll pay attention to that. But then for the chart when Uranus re-enters Taurus, that will be March 6th, 2019. That is a new moon in Pisces conjunct Neptune. And Neptune rules things like oil, chemicals, pharmaceuticals. And so maybe there's something around that theme that Uranus and Taurus says, like, no, we got to change this. We got to find ways to be more sustainable. We got to use technology to clean this shit up. All right. The other thing is, on that day that's also fascinating, on March 6, 2019, it's the new moon, like I just said, but also Mercury is stationing retrograde at the final degree of Pisces. And that is where a fixed star lives, and the fixed star is named Shit. And this star actually has like kind of a more sad, negative connotation. It has a lot to do with like sorrows and drowning and boating accidents and things like that. I don't know. The meanings for the fixed stars are a little archaic, but I'm almost wondering when I look at this chart if there's going to be some kind of disaster with like an oil spill or something like that. I mean, it could be, looking at the chart. I'm not saying that it will be, but it could be. And then that forces us to maybe throw some mushrooms that eat oil and plastic into the ocean, for example. I'm just saying it's a possibility. But again, you know, we have tragedies going on with our coral reefs and just the plastic in the water in general. And maybe Uranus and Taurus comes up with ways that we can clean all that shit up. Back to the original ingress chart, the one that's happening this month, May 15th, 2018. Uranus moves into Taurus. It is also conjunct Mercury. So that's going to be awesome for like new ideas coming in general. I mean, of course new ideas are going to be coming in, but I'm just thinking, like, with it happening on a new moon and the fact that like we probably have no idea what's coming in, is there's going to be like maybe a mini birth of new ideas that helps carry this energy into fruition. I'm really actually excited about this. I can't wait to see us, you know, I'm optimistic about us as a society learning to take care of our earth better with technology. And so I'm really excited for that. But also here's something to think about, going back to the money thing. So Wall Street is represented by a bull. They have a giant bull statue down on Wall Street, and Taurus is a bull. So let's see what happens there. It could be good. Grab the popcorn. But some other things I just want to cover real quick about previous times that Uranus has been in Taurus. Uranus has a cycle of 84 years, so we can go back in like 84-year intervals and kind of see what happened to also give us clarity. So the last time that Uranus was in Taurus was just after the Wall Street crash, okay? that happened in 1929, but Uranus entered Taurus a little bit later, and this was around the time of the New Deal. And FDR created a lot of new infrastructure, created jobs by having people build things. So Taurus, again, is a physical, materialistic sign, building things. Bridges were built, buildings, the Chrysler building, all that stuff, right? Maybe not the Chrysler building, that might have been the 20s. But anyways, a lot of stuff was built and people had jobs, and we created a social security, okay? Again, Uranus is futuristic, and it is home to, it's the modern ruler of Aquarius, which is also kind of socialistic, can be. So maybe we can figure this out. I mean, I know a lot of millennials are wondering what the hell we're gonna do, how we're gonna retire. Maybe this is something that we can start to figure out in the next 7 years, hopefully. Before that, 1850 to 1859, Uranus was in Taurus. This was just before the Civil War. And what was going on at that time? Industrialization, building of railroads across the land, the telegraph systems going up across the land. And again, it was part of our growth. We, we're innovating the land with technology, okay? But what's interesting about that time is that behind the scenes with all this technological innovation going on the land, there was the big debate over slavery and freeing people, and I think that has a lot to do with Uranus and Aries that we've had in the last 7 years. Is more people are like, no, we're people, we deserve freedom, and the rest of us are trying to help make that happen. And so it's a time of sovereignty. The Uncle Tom's Cabin came out in 1850, which is right at the tail end of Uranus and Aries, which is really interesting. And we've seen a big cry for sovereignty by multiple groups of oppressed peoples in this country and all over the world. So I just thought that was interesting. And the other thing that was going on at that time, 1850 to 1859, was we were acquiring a lot of territories. So if you look at a map from that period, not all 50 states were formed yet. They were like territories. And so something that we might see is, as a theme in the next 7 years, is ownership of land and maybe redrawing of borders and things like that. I mean, we're already seeing North and South Korea negotiating to start a new chapter together. So, I mean, a lot of people are saying that it's probably too far gone for them to become one country again, but this is a topic of land and ownership. So we're seeing that right at the beginning here. Before that, there was 1767 to 1775, just before the Revolutionary War. 67 to 1775, what was going on in this country with the 13 colonies and everything. People, what were they pissed about? They were pissed about taxes and money. And so we're seeing that as a theme very strongly, and ownership of the land. They wanted to be their own country and everything. And not to mention, as far as land ownership goes, the relationship between the colonists and the Native Americans, it was a big topic, like who owns this land and everything. And of course we know that the colonists were assholes and took the land, and they were mean to the natives and just straight up abusive and awful. But again, the topic of land ownership we see there. And then even before that, 1607, Uranus was in Taurus. That's when the 13 colonies were formed. So there you have it. We have a little bit of a history of this, but also the great thing with the New Deal that happened the last time was we fixed the money problem. So I'm really hoping that we can fix the money problem that we have right now, and take a lot of the messages of Bernie Sanders and create a political revolution that supports us all. And I'm optimistic that Uranus and Taurus can help us to maybe access more free energy and allow us to thrive in harmony with the earth, and get the earth's just make better use of our resources, right? Taurus is all about harmony and beauty, and so we need to be doing better, and we have the technology to do it. So Let's organize and go forth.